Ghosts are moving tonight, restless, hungry. I'm Angela, Haunted Hostess of Pretty Spooky Presents Friday Night Feast N Fright, where we match our meal to our monsters. I've rented the house on Haunted Hill to throw a party. A haunted house party. There will be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited. And while Frederick Lauren is a dashing gent, if I should perish before the party's over, I'd much rather my ghost outfit for all eternity be more like Annabelle's pre-party ensemble. That's better. Each month I plan a pretty spooky dinner and movie to enjoy in the Sunken Compass, my home tiki bar. Tonight's Friday Night Feast N Fright feature is House on Haunted Hill. The original, of course. If you love spooky movies, devilishly delicious meals, creepy cocktails, and nostalgic movie facts, then you're in the right place. I work out all of the details ahead of time and share my low carb on the high seas recipes in the description because they're so frightfully delicious, you want to hang around to get them all. If any of you survive the entire episode, you'll get recipes and tips to host your own Friday Night Feast N Fright, or your next of kin, in case you don't survive. First, let's take a tour of the house on Haunted Hill and see what happens. There's been a murder in almost every place in this house, so there's a ghost for everybody. First, we'll begin our evening in the upstairs boudoir with a chilly coupe of slightly shaken champagne, which is much better than arsenic on the rocks. Plus, it's so thrilling since it might explode. And death by champagne cork makes such a great headline. And don't worry, I haven't poisoned it. In the parlor, we'll see the knife used to hack things to pieces and sever heads, which have never been found, yet. They're just floating around the house somewhere, waiting for dessert. If you listen closely, you can hear them at night. They whisper to each other, and then they cry. Then we'll stop at the grand hall to look at the ceiling and gawk at a spot of blood where a young girl was killed. And whatever got her, it wasn't human. Don't stand there! It's too late. They've marked you. Let's keep moving. Next, we'll lurk downstairs to the wine cellar where the original homeowner, Mr. Norton, threw his wife in a vat of wine or acid or something. Down there, we'll do a good deal of experimenting with wine and cheese. Hopefully you'll like it, or else you can go swimming with Mrs. Norton. My, it's dry and dusty in this old cellar, but there's a cure for that upstairs, right before we head off to our creepy old rooms and unpack our suitcases. Oh, what's that? It seems you found one of the severed heads whispering and crying in the night, waiting to be hacked apart and dipped into a vat of dark chocolate fondue noir. It's a funny thing, but none of the murders in this house have been just ordinary, shooting or stabbing or anything like that. They've all been sort of wild, violent, and different. Sort of like this party. It's so amusing. May I have your attention, please? I think you all remember the bargain we made about staying through to the end of the episode. If any of you don't survive, the recipes and tips will be divided amongst the rest of you. Well, I was going to give you the option to forfeit your recipes and nostalgic movie facts, but it looks like the caretakers have made the decision for you. We're all locked in now. So let's not just hang around like a bunch of deadbeats. Let's really get this party cooking. We'll start with the severed head cake and prepare the dippers for the fondue noir. House on Haunted Hill is a delectable horror delight served on a silver platter. Dreamed up by writer Rob White and directed by William Castle, this is one vintage haunted house film that really takes the cake. Castle was not one to sit idly by and just let life happen. Charismatic and likable, Castle was given his first break as a young teen by the great Bela Lugosi. Castle was mesmerized by Lugosi's performance in the play Dracula, and after seeing the play an uncountable number of times, found a way to meet the star. Lugosi was so impressed with the young Castle that he advocated for Castle to be hired as assistant stage manager for the touring play. Castle took the job, dropped out of school, and held various jobs on Broadway, which allowed him to make connections with such greats as Orson Welles and Columbia Pictures president Harry Cohn. It was at Columbia Pictures where Castle gained the reputation of being able to make profitable movies quickly and cheaply. House on Haunted Hill was an extremely lucrative endeavor for Allied artists. It took only 2 months and $200,000 to create it, yet it brought in $2.5 million at the box office. Castle's low-budget directing is credited as Hitchcock's inspiration to make Psycho, and in turn, Hitchcock's Psycho was Castle's inspiration for his later film, Homicidal. Part of this success can be attributed to the marketing genius of William Castle. While tame by today's standards, in 1959, the movie poster was considered too gruesome to be printed in many newspapers. A skeleton dangling a woman on a noose, a severed head being toted by its hair, and a person melting in a vat of acid was just too much. And movie houses took advantage of the movie's taboo nature and profited greatly. To add to the experience, Castle arranged for movie theaters to have a physical skeleton appear during key moments in the film and fly out over the audience, called Emergo. This was the second time Castle employed a marketing gimmick, and certainly not his last. The first was a legitimate insurance policy of $1,000 for any moviegoer who died of fright. Emergo was followed by the Tingler's vibrating seats and 13 Ghosts Illusiono, which allowed attendees to either view or remove ghosts from the screen with special viewers. And there were many more stunts for other Castle films. There were so many, in fact, that they became expected and enjoyed by his fans, who knew they'd get much more than just a movie with their ticket to any Castle film. This was the second of 5 films written by Rob White and directed by William Castle. This powerful partnership churned out such hits as Macabre in 1958, House on Haunted Hill 1959, The Tingler in 1959, 13 Ghosts in 1960, and Homicidal in 1961. Together, they co-founded a production company aimed at making 5 films in just 16 months. Prolific author Rob White was the quintessential preacher's son and a World War II veteran. Rebellious, adventurous, and always endeavoring to experience the unusual. He bought an 8-acre island for $60 in the British Virgin Islands, where he built a small home and lived for just 3 years, writing everything from shockingly scandalous adult fiction to children's books that were sold at scholastic book fairs. The British government refused to grant an official license for White to own his small island home, stating that his writings misrepresented life in the British Virgin Islands. Ironically, the home that White was unable to keep due to his unacceptable writings is now a reading lounge at a resort on the island. This dynamic duo gave horror fans the spooky thrills they were seeking, and then some. Castle and White knew that they had the secret ingredient horror fans craved, both in the script and on the screen. The gimmicks were merely icing on the cake. Now that we've gotten that in the bag, let's head down to the cellar and work on Mr. Norton's white wine fondue. I think you'll find his recipe shockingly delicious. Castle and his crew cooked up all the right effects to make sure the audience knows this is a scary movie. Castle understood the importance of sound and started the movie with quite a bang. Or a scream, rather. This sound sequence experienced by moviegoers in a pitch-black theater was so powerful, it gave rise to the haunted sound effects records used at haunted attractions and played at Halloween parties. Creaking doors, rattling chains, screams, ghost moans, and maniacal laughter are among the best of them. Even the theme music for the movie became popular, which originally had lyrics, but Castle wisely left them out of the film, keeping just the ghostly operatic female voice over dark orchestral tones, producing goosebumps and allowing viewers to fully enjoy the spooky visuals on screen, undistracted by words. Although in the movie, Pritchard says the house on Haunted Hill was a century old, the exterior shots in the opening scene depicts Frank Lloyd Wright's Ennis House, built in 1924 in the Mayan Revival style. The concrete mansion would have only been 35 years old at the time of filming. The home, also used in the 1982 film Blade Runner, sits atop a hill and overlooks the home that would later be dubbed the Los Feliz murder mansion. Months after House on Haunted Hill concluded filming, a double murder-suicide occurred, vaguely resembling the murders described by Pritchard in the movie. The movie posters depicted a conventional Victorian manor synonymous with the typical cobweb-covered haunted house that moviegoers might be expecting, and the interior shots created on soundstage sets delivered on that promise of a spooky Victorian mansion. If you look carefully, you will see that there were attempts to include blocky motifs in the molding and woodwork of the interior sets, similar to the designs found on the exterior of the Ennis house. Either the inclusion of these designs were an extreme coincidence, or the set designers were aware of Castle's plans to use Ennis house for the exterior shots and made tiny attempts at cohesion between the spooky old interiors and the menacing concrete exterior. It's mismatched, yet it still works. It's a melted amalgamation like Mr. Norton's white wine fondue, a deliciously cheesy dish with the classic flavor profile you'd expect and exactly what you'd hope for. And the ghosts aren't through with us yet. They've really roped us into their twisted games tonight, haven't they? Since Mr. Norton's fondue made such a splash, it's time to bring out the old severed head again and drench it in the red stuff. And by that, I mean Lloyd's Gold Room Fassionola. With its notes of raspberry, strawberry, and passion fruit, it'll pair perfectly with the severed head cake and fondue noir. I'll link that episode in the description. So let's bring out the fondue pot one more time and see what emerges. Vincent Price and Carol Ohmart create such palpable tension it could be cut with a knife. It's the sinister chemistry that propels this accessible and uncomplicated plot forward and leads viewers down its dark and creepy halls. House on Haunted Hill was the movie where many horror fans fell in love with Vincent Price. Debonair, charming, sly, cunning, and with biting dry wit, Frederick Loren was played perfectly by Vincent Price, who said he had a blast playing the character. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, Price's accent was gained through his time spent in European cultural centers, further developing his love for fine art and cuisine. Price, a Yale graduate, got his start with historical and classical roles on stage, eventually landing him on Broadway, where he, just like Castle, made the acquaintance of Orson Welles. Price also voiced radio programs, authored several books, and at the age of 33 began film work. It wasn't until a chance meeting over coffee that Castle and Price discussed working together on House on Haunted Hill and The Tingler. Since Price had recently been turned down for a role, Castle's timing was perfect, and surely whomever turned down Price greatly regretted their decision after seeing his portrayal of Frederick Loren. Price made villainy so attractive. Also drawn to villain roles was the beautiful Miss Former Utah, Carol Ohmart. With a more than turbulent childhood, Ohmart eventually gained freedom through radio commercials, off-Broadway plays, and small roles on TV shows. And then, it happened. Ohmart was an understudy to the lead on the aptly named Broadway play, Kismet. When Ohmart got the chance to fill in, a scout from Paramount was in the audience. She signed a 7-year deal as the next Marilyn Monroe, and the media called her the female Brando. But Paramount failed to showcase Ohmart's talents in the right projects. Out of her 10 full-length films, House on Haunted Hill was Ohmart's 4th and best-known work. Her portrayal of Annabelle Loren as the gorgeous gold-digging seductress is scrumptious. The Lorens' motives were dark. Their relationship was twisted. This is one fun film that serves up just desserts, topped with a heaping scoop of spookiness. Now that we've all made it through the night, well, most of us at least, I'm ready for you to decide if the party was a success. So drop your comments in the acid vat below and let me know if you've enjoyed your stay at the House on Haunted Hill. And be sure to check back every first Friday for more Friday Night Feast and Fright. We're dying to have you for dinner. I loved being your haunted hostess. You were a wonderful guest and you're welcome back always. farewell until next time. Cheers. Now there are more ghosts. There will be more, many more. They're coming for me now. And then they'll come for you.